Morning and happy Monday. Today we're going to be talking about something called domain and range. It's a very important topic when we use functions. So first off, the domain is simply a list of all the x values in the problem. The range is the opposite. It's a list of all the y values. Alright, so if we have a problem that looks maybe something like this, y equals 2x, again, all the numbers that you put into the problem for x would be called the domain, and all the numbers that you use for y would be called the range. Right? Now, sometimes we use function notation instead, and it looks like this. Instead of y equals 2x, it says f of x equals 2x. Well, that means the domain is all of your input numbers. It's all of the numbers that you would put into the problem. It's the same thing as the number in the parenthesis there. Alright? Whereas the range is your output numbers. It's what happens when you get an answer. And range is essentially the answer. Alright? And then, again, your missing number, that's the number that's missing in the problem, that is your range, or your domain. So again, that number that's here, that is a domain number. Whereas the range is the answer after you've done the work. Alright, so let's take a look at how we can do this from a chart. Alright, so we're going to complete the table, then we're going to list the domain and the range. So first off, let's complete the table. Alright, they're telling us what number to use for the input. And again, the input is the number that goes where the x is. So that first one, it's telling us it's a 2. So you'll notice that instead of writing a x in that particular spot there, they're writing a 2 instead. So again, that's telling us what's happening. We're going to be replacing all x's with 2 because the 2 is in the spot where the x used to be. That means in this main problem, 3x plus 5, I'm going to replace the x with a 2. And always replace new numbers with the letters with a parenthesis around the new number. So take the x out, put a parenthesis where it used to be. All right, now let's do the work. That 3 times 2 makes 6. And plus 5 makes 11. That's the output number called the range. Alright. Next, let's put a 3 into the problem. So that means 3 and then x, which is now 3 again, plus 5. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 5 is 14. Now plug a 4 in. So 3x, which is now 4, plus 5. That's 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 5 is 17. And lastly, let's plug in a 5. That's 3 times 5 plus 5. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 5 makes 20. Alright, so that's the first step, completing the table. Alright, now the domain, which happens to be a list of all of the input numbers. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the range is a list of all of the output numbers. 11, 14, 17, and 20. So again, the domain is a list of all the numbers that you were putting into the problem. The range is a list of all the answers that you got. Alright? This is what your work looks like today. It's not terribly difficult, but again, just understanding these two vocabulary words going forward is going to be very important for us during this chapter. Alright, good luck today.